Transformers: The Last Night, the 5th installment in the live action film series, with Michael Bay once again returning to direct, as well as promising us again this is going to be his last one. Now, I'm not a massive Michael Bay hater. I actually like quite a few of his films. In fact, I like what he did with The Rock, Armageddon, The Island even, and the first Transformers movie. I sort of like his visual style, and I think he's really good at creating really fun and exciting and impressive action. He can handle large movies really well, though I'm not a massive fan when it comes to the editing in his films. And the erratic, there's often, the erratic camera behaviour, the camera shaking like this, and you get these sudden views, and you cut from point A to point D. I'm not a massive fan of that, but when it comes to this visual sort of style, it comes to creating very sort of fun and exciting and impressive action scenes within his films. He does a really good job, I think, and he can make good films. You can make okay films, like I listed previously, but just a moment ago, with the likes of The Rock, and yeah, I do actually really like Armageddon. It's just how those scenes are really sort of put together, really, in his films. I'm not a massive fan of that, like when it comes to the editing. But anyway, Transformers: The Last Night. What on earth is this film? Okay, let's start off with a positive, and one of its only positives, really. And yeah, this is filled with some really big action set pieces, very impressive action scenes. I really liked the action in this film, and like all the previous other Transformers, really, they're sort of fun and exciting, because at the end of the day, I'm a big kid, I'm a big geek, and just to see these, these Transformers on the screen fighting each other, then yeah, I am, it is sort of enjoyable on a very sort of, a geeky sort of level. It makes me feel like a kid again in the cinema, when I'm like, about 5 years old, and you're seeing all this for the first time on the screen, and that, I enjoy it. They're enjoyable. So yeah, an impressive action. There's a lot of explosions in this film. You've got explosions going off where you didn't even think explosions would go off. It's like, how the hell did that happen? There's sparks coming from there, but it's like, it's like Michael Bay just likes to just have sparks and explosions everywhere in these films. It's like just total chaos, and a lot of it doesn't make sense, but it's a Transformers film. So yeah, okay, the action is fun, it's enjoyable, it's entertaining, and it's what you want from a film like this. But you want more than just that, don't you? Especially if you've got a film that's running at 2 hours and 30 minutes. But this movie was just soulless. It was mindless and empty. The action, yeah, is fun to watch. You've got these big robots smashing each other, but that's about it. I didn't care for one single character in this movie. No Autobot or Decepticon or any type of Transformer. I didn't care for one character in this film. There are characters in this movie that just don't even need to be within the story. They don't need to be in this film or the story. And, there's zero character development. And everything just seems to happen. I mean, if you don't care about the characters in the story, you may as well just you may as well just give up straight away, because the story is not going to mean anything to you. You've got to care about the characters within the story for the film to actually, grab your attention, really, and for you to actually invest yourself within the story. You might even have a good story, but if you don't actually have characters within that story that you care about, how are you supposed to invest into the story? Actually care about what's going on and what these people are doing. So yeah, it's really important to me that you really need to sort of, have character development so you can actually care about these characters and have characters that are interesting. But this film just lacks any of that. I mean, there's zero character development. I didn't care about anyone. These characters were just put into the film just to sort of run around and scream while you had chaos going on all around them. And that's what this film was, basically. 2.5 hours of explosions. You got the Michael Bay ladies, and just, yeah, nothing. Just a film full of soulless, mindless emptiness. This is what this film was. The story is just convoluted with shit that doesn't need to be in this film. I mean, you've got all these sort of subplots going on and all of this and that, and it's just a lot. There's so much stuff that goes on within this story in this film that really doesn't need to be in the film, like its characters. And like I said, this film is 2 hours 30 minutes. You could have easily cut about 40 minutes away from this. So there is another little thing that I liked about this film, and that was the introduction, really. And, you know, the film starts off back in the days of King Arthur and Merlin. And I enjoyed that first about 5-10 minutes of the film. You know, you've got this huge battle. Yeah, Transformers are involved. And it was entertaining, and there was a part of me that was sort of, well, wishing that the entire movie was just sort of based during this era and that it went down that sort of path. Obviously it doesn't, but... And then there is a moment then, though, that you've got with Merlin, and he's on horseback, and he says this line, "Oh gosh, I'm sloshed." Something like that, anyway, and I just cringed, and I remember thinking to myself, oh, here we go. And yet the script in this film is so bad. Like, there was a moment where I actually had to put my hands in my head. I even had to look away from the screen. That's how bad the dialogue, the script is in this film. For me, anyway. And I was like, just what is this? I mean, what this film was written by a 5-year-old. It was just so, like, this is a type of movie that I probably would have made back when I was about 5 years old with my toys. And the humour and the comedy in this movie is equally as bad as the script. I'm really not a fan. You know, it's got classic Michael Bay humour. If you've watched all the other previous Transformers films, you'll know what to expect when it comes to this sort of humour. And I'm really just not a fan of it. It really does make me cringe. And in this particular movie, it just seems to have been upped by 100. The lead actress, the character's name is Vivian Wembley, I think. And there is a funny moment with her rolling down a banking. That moment sort of made me chuckle. I don't know why. That's just my sense of humour. But that, you know, I think that was probably one of the only times I actually chuckled at the humour in this film. And there's a scene with Anthony Hopkins shouting at the Prime Minister of the UK, telling him to shut up. And I think it was supposed to be funny, but I just found it cringy. Oh, which also leads me into Anthony Hopkins. What on earth? I mean, okay, I suppose it's a paycheck, but did you really have to sort of stoop this low? Did you not read the script at all? To quote back to you one of the lines that you used quite a bit in this movie, what's the bloody matter with you? And when it comes to the script, I suppose there are a few moments. There's a moment at the beginning of the movie where Merlin is making this very inspirational speech to a Transformer to try and persuade this Transformer to help them fight a losing battle, and I liked it. And it sort of reminded me of where you do actually get another one in this film. You get one in every single film, and that is a very inspirational speech by Optimus Prime. And he gives out this really, it does, and it gives you goosebumps. And even one of the Transformers actually acknowledges this, which is supposed to make you laugh, but again, it didn't. But yeah, it's sort of, it's got moments like that which I sort of like, but then it's just sort of wasted really in what is a big pile of shit. It's a mess. It's just the way this movie is sort of pieced together. It's a shame because, you know, when it comes to Michael Bay's visual style and how his films look, and when it comes to the action set pieces, they are very impressive. But it's just the actual content, that's, you know, the story, the characters. This is where his movies are sort of really falling flat to the ground, you know what I mean? And the movie has its classic, iconic Michael Bay woman. And you know, the women who've got the lipstick, their hair's always perfect throughout the film, and they got this, you know, they really in this tight sort of dress. Actually, I think they took the piss out of that in the film as well. I'm sure they actually acknowledged the fact that the woman was wearing a sort of tight, skimpy dress. So when it comes to the story, there isn't really much of a story, and it's very basic. And like I said, it's hidden really within all this other nonsense that's going on, and a lot of stuff and characters that you don't need. But I sort of liked what they were doing or could have done. Like I said, the film really sort of starts off promising. Apart from that really sort of one cringy line that you get from Merlin, the film is entertaining and is sort of interesting. I mean, it's like you sort of hope that it goes into this certain direction, but it doesn't. And I just like I said, those first 10 minutes where it's based during that era with King Arthur, I would have preferred 2 hours of that, really. Now, I'm going to say something that might upset the big hardcore fans of the old animated TV shows. I mean, I grew up watching them, but it's been years. I can't really remember them too much. But I did have the toys, and I did watch the TV show, the animated show. And this might upset a few fans, but I actually preferred Hugo Weaving's voice as Megatron. And they've got the guy, I believe it's the original guy who did voice Megatron in the old TV show from the 80s. Frank Welker, I think his name is. And he was the original voice, but he's in this as well. He was in Extinction, I believe, too. But I just preferred Hugo Weaving's voice. There was something more sort of monstrous, and I don't know, I just liked it. I preferred Hugo Weaving's voice. So that might upset some of the fanboys out there, but that's just a tiny, tiny, tiny gripe that I've got from within. Well, there's nothing really positive to say about this film, is there, really? So it's full of annoying characters. Characters that you don't need. You don't care about the characters that you should care about. There's no character development. The story's pretty basic, but it's got, a lot of this other nonsense that you don't need. The script is terrible. Absolutely terrible. The humour is cringy. I'm really not a fan of the editing. The action is fun. It is enjoyable, and that is the only thing that really gets me through the long running time within these movies is the action. Same for Extinction and the Dark Side of the Moon, and it's the action and the fact that you get these giant robots fighting each other. That's what really gets my arse in the seat, and invest some money into this movie. Because it's like being a child again, and I sort of appreciate that side of it. And like I said, Michael Bay does he knows how to create some really impressive action scenes and set pieces, and but that's it. Other than the fun and exciting action and impressive action, and the film, visually, like all of his other films, they look nice. I like his visual style, but other than that, the movies are empty, mindless and soulless, and that's about it. I wasn't really hoping for much when it came to Transformers The Last Night. This didn't really expect it to be as bad as this. I was sort of hoping that Michael Bay would learn from his mistakes, because like I said, Michael Bay could make a good film. He can make an okay film and a watchable film. It's only the fact that this movie has so much action in it that this film is actually watchable. There are a lot of moments in this film where I just went like this. I was like, really? But, so yeah, they are my views and thoughts of Transformers The Last Night. And my grade, the grade that I will be giving this movie is a D-. The only reason why I didn't give it an F is because of the action. And that, the film looks nice. Like I said, I like Michael Bay's visual style. Thanks for watching. I really do appreciate it. What did you think of the latest Transformers film? Let me know below. Did you agree or disagree with anything I said? Let me know. I do have a late review coming up for Baywatch, which I think it's coming up to 3 weeks ago now. And I'll have reviews coming up for War for the Planet of the Apes, Baby Driver, and It Comes at Night. which is a horror film. So yeah, I'm a little bit behind at the moment, but I will be, I'm going to try and get all these films in now this week and going into next. I'll have my reviews up very, very soon. Again, thanks for watching. I really do appreciate it. And if you like what you see and you share the same passion, and you're a big geek like me and you just love film, then why not hit subscribe?